The South African Human Rights Commission has confirmed it will probe the Zanzou nightclub incident. The Commission is calling on victims and other potential witnesses to come forward and assist with this investigation. For more on this, I'm now joined by Zamantungwa Mbeki, who is the Provincial Gauteng Manager of the SAHRC. A very good afternoon to you, Zama. Thank you very much for your time. There is no justification for what is being depicted in the videos. Reads your statement in part.
Definitely, there's no justification in our current democracy that would allow for people to be treated in such a manner, to be violated in such a manner, and also to have many of their rights violated in such a manner.
And you will have noted, of course, the public outrage from virtually everybody.
Definitely, and it's warranted. I think when from time to time, when we see such videos as a South African community, as a community at large, we ask ourselves that, do we really exist with people in the same spaces who can do this to other people? As a country, we are shocked, and you could see the outrage and the responses from different people who've gone to protest outside the club. But I think what also brings this is the different questions that we all have since watching that video. The incidents that took place in 2023, what has happened to the victims since 2023, where are they, and also what brought this incident to them. I think everybody has the sense in unity that this is something that cannot happen in our country.
Now, you will have seen the statement from the establishment, and many people have expressed a view on it. I don't know whether you have a view as the Commission.
I think it ties to your first question, where that can we really have a justification for such an incident? Can somebody do something that would warrant such a response? In our country, we have laws that are put in place. If there was a theft of a cell phone or whatever that would have happened, we've got the South African Police Services who are mandated to investigate such issues. And so it brings to the forefront the question of, why do we have incidences or people who can take, in essence, the law into their own hands? If the patrons, or if there was a cell phone stolen, or if the patrons didn't pay for their feed bill, whichever is current version which is circulating, we have laws in place in our country that would be able to deal with that in the appropriate manner. What we have now is a situation where, whether it's private security or bouncers, who have in essence taken the law into their own hands and have actually violated these young men, a sexual offense, if you really look at it.
Among the disturbing parts of that statement that the establishment released is the part where dismissively they say, this video, this thing happened a while ago. It's an old video.
And it brings to the question that if it happened a while ago, why were the charges then not brought at the time? But also remember, Vio, this takes place in an establishment that is owned by a person who has certain responsibilities and duties in terms of the law for patrons who come to that establishment. Whether this is done by his employees or people that he subcontracted, there are still there's still a duty and an obligation on the owner to make sure that his employees are abiding by the law. That's why that I'm saying that even if it happened in 2023, it in fact makes it even worse. That why was a case not opened that time? And I think what I want to emphasize, and I think that this is an angle that we as the Commission, is that this is a sexual offense. This is a sexual offense in how we understand and how the law has been amended to date. And we must be looking at this as people who are really victims of a sexual offense, as is currently in our laws. So there's even a higher now threshold of why did why were appropriate measures not taken at the time in 2023?
The owners of the establishment also say that, or allege that the person who has distributed the videos was trying to extort money from them.
If that is so, they should have reported that to the South African Police Services. All of these measures that are being said as account of whether this was taken in 2023, there is laws in our country that say that if anybody is trying to extort you, has threatened your life, we should be reporting this to SAHRC for investigation. And it's important, we're not in a country where there are no laws for such incidences. So it really maybe doesn't pass muster at the moment.
Now, take us through, I mean, you are going to, you have launched your own investigation. Take us through, if you will, your complaints handling procedure.
So in the ordinary sense, in the ordinary day, what we would do is obviously receive complaints from the public. But in this case, noting what was going on yesterday on social media, we opened the investigation in our own accord. Now, when we do that, we have to outline really who are the responsible agents that the Commission needs to be getting a hold of to try and get a sense of the responses. I mean, obviously, at the top of the list is the South African Police Services, the Provincial Commissioner, to really establish, is there a case and who is investigating this case? But also the categorization of the case and the charge. Obviously, we can't, as the Commission, impede on investigation of the South African Police Services, but it is to make sure that and time again that the case is moving, the victims are provided the necessary support. But as we said, as well as the Commission, is that the lens that we want to bring forward is that this is a sexual offense, and we must not be forgetting that. We must be looking at the fact that the victims, their rights also to privacy. I'm not sure at which point whether they had consented to this being shared publicly, but also that when we seeing that their rights as well to dignity, to privacy, right to bodily integrity, and to equal and fair treatment, that they also are receiving that. And in the end, what they deem to be justice as the victims, that we try to bring that closer to for them.
And you've touched on a matter that has gotten a lot of people talking, arguing, debating, and so on. Because on the one hand, it, as a direct result of these videos being shared, South Africans are now aware of things that are happening outside of, you know, a public scrutiny. Yet on the other, as you say, I mean, sharing or forwarding these messages does infringe on the rights of the victims as well.
Yeah, it's a tough balance that we have to strike here. The rights of the victims and perhaps the social justice or the support that the person who posted wanted to garner at the time. It's rights that one has to balance. That's why I was saying that we really have to consider and get the side of the victims to say, do they believe that their right to privacy, did they consent? Do they also want to perhaps look at other avenues? And if I'm not mistaken, the person also said that they've got additional footage. I think they said 75 videos. I don't know if that is still accurate, but what type of materials is there? And if this material should not be given to the South African Police Services for them to do further investigations. But at the end of the day, this is a crime that did happen in a business that is owned by somebody, and at the end, there are victims who are involved.
Your statement ends by saying that you're going to be working around the clock. Have you given this process any timelines, or are you going to be purely guided by whatever information that you come across or people who come forward?
Definitely. It's very important that we establish the facts from the people who have been involved. There's been a lot of, as you said earlier on, there are a lot of versions that are going around on social media. And it's very important that we really establish a timeline from the victims and, if possible, from them directly or their representatives. But also, this will guide us from here on. Once we've established that statement, we have to hear from them as well what it is that they foresee happening for themselves outside of perhaps of the criminal justice system as we would have it, but also the normal timelines that we would have for allowing the respondents, being perhaps the SAHRC or other officials, to respond back to the commission.
Zamantungwa Mbeki, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.